don't fade away. My brown-eyed girl, come walk with me.
Today I want to share the point of finger pointing. I was determined by this point when I yesterday went to the first aid with my daughter because she has been fallen on her arm, and this morning I opened my Facebook and I saw a lot of finger pointing going on there. So I was thinking, what does this mean? Why are we finger pointing? Why are we using this silent way of evil? Yesterday in the first aid waiting room, there were a lot of people. Of course, there are always a lot of people, and due to lack of money, there are not so many nurses and doctors, so you have to wait a long time. And we were in there for an hour, and there were people already waiting for 4 or 5 hours. And there was this elderly man waiting in a wheelchair in a not so comfortable position, and he was bleeding in his mouth, and they already had taken a blood test and they had to wait for that, and then maybe a doctor was going to look what was happening, and his children were constantly wiping off the blood that was just dripping out of his mouth, and they cleaned it inside, and there was really a lot of blood coming out. But he didn't have any red coat because they label you in coats. You have a white coat, and that's, well, you just don't have anything, and they might send you back home to your family doctor. If you have a green coat, then, well, they're going to look eventually at you, but they don't know when. And when you have a yellow coat, it's a severe injury, and when you have a red coat, it's a life-threatening injury. So we had a green coat, and I don't know what this old man had, but probably also a green coat, because nobody was really watching over him except for his children. And then in this waiting room, there were some people who had, one man had an arm that was just hurting, another one had an eye that was all blood. Well, there was not blood coming out of it, but it was just all red. And they were just, and every time when there was an ambulance coming in, we all were just watching and just seeing how severe the people who were injured who were coming in, because to me it was a way to see how many hours I still had to wait. And for the others, it seems like how they express themselves, like, well, is this person really injured severe, or are they going to treat him or her before me? Isn't it my turn to go in now because I've been waiting so long? So there was a lot of finger pointing going on there, and then they all agreed that the old man, well, he should be first because he was old and he wasn't comfortable and he was bleeding, so that was an urgent thing. But when finally the doctor came out and picked someone to come over in the first aid station, that person didn't say, "Oh, it's my turn. I know you're calling me, but I think this old man needs to be be first, because to me it looks more severe than what I have. The first one didn't react like that. The second one, neither. But they all had their mouth full of, oh, how bad it is that this old man has to wait, and if I were him, I would do this or that. But they all were just only thinking about themselves. When it was their turn, they just went in and they didn't consider anybody else. So that looked really strange to me. Oh, and there was a young man who was brought in with the ambulance, but he was walking. And then people said, how can it be? He's walking. Why is he in an ambulance? Later I found out that he had had a panic attack. And out of precaution, they had taken him with the ambulance. So you never know what story is behind a person. And when you start to finger point, you're just judging the person just for nothing. And then this morning I opened my Facebook and I saw also people just finger pointing, and I was thinking, why people? Why are we doing this? Because finger pointing is just not taking responsibility for yourself. It's the easy way out, and I've done a lot of finger pointing in my past too. So I'm not going to say that I'm a saint, but I can see now that it doesn't lead you anywhere. Because when somebody is just putting up his middle finger to you, it's a clear sign. It's just saying fuck off or fuck the world or whatever. It's clear. But when you finger point to another, it's just a silent, evil thing to do. Because many times people don't even lift up their hand and point in reality, in the physical. No, they just say things, and they do point their index finger to another, but not in a physical way. It's evil. It's just evil. And we cannot no longer tolerate this behavior. It has to stop. Because if nobody is taking responsibility and everybody wants a better world, how on earth are we going to accomplish that? I think never. And if you don't agree with somebody, well, you can say, fuck, lift your middle finger, then it's in the open and then you can discuss it. But when you're just only finger pointing and assuming things, saying things, but not really investigate the whole thing, just keep your mouth shut, because it won't bring you anywhere. It only brings consequences. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. And I don't like to be in your shoes then, because those consequences are real. And they're as evil as your index finger. Thank you.